We go, but we're live,
All right, here we go, guys. It is a beautiful Sunday morning here in Austin.
It's a long weekend.
Had a little one too many already here out at Sellis, huh?
I was wondering what day it was. No, it's a beautiful Sunday morning here in Austin, Texas, and it's a beautiful Sunday here in America now, isn't it?
Oh, it's a great Sunday in America. One of many games being played, one that the United States has already won, and we're hoping for one that's a great looking shirt, my friend.
My England shirt has disappeared, and Alex Morgan shirt, I think.
Alex Morgan has won your heart. It's a little tight on
It's
you
a little
there.
tight.
No,
yeah,
man, he's been doing the push-ups.
She's taller than me.
Got that 100 push-up plan.
Now, we've jumped the gun a little bit, guys, because we need to introduce ourselves
Yes.
and say what we're doing here, where we're at.
Yeah, what on earth are we doing?
And honestly, who we are. So
Yes.
let's go around the table now. Johnathan, you are the newest member of this show for the throw-in.
I am. I'm the token Brit.
Yes.
I am
Brit.
Johnathan Green, and I am an Austinite, and I am a football player, and I have some soccer background.
You do. It's not just
a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little. You were around for 66, weren't you?
Funnily enough,
That's a little bit
ouch.
Okay.
But funnily enough, yes. I was in diapers, and my dad crashed the car because he had to get baby food for the extra time. My mother sent him out.
Why
And he
would she
crashed the
do
car.
that?
He was so fed up with it. He was like, I can't leave now. It's too old.
Yeah, exactly.
He comes back, and it's 3-2.
Yeah,
So you think it's all over.
There was no YouTube then.
The food is still going to be at the store
I know,
when the game is
exactly.
over.
It's like, what the heck?
The baby
Yeah.
wasn't going to perish just
I
because he
know.
didn't get to eat that
So
for
then
5
I
minutes.
was enslaved into a life of dribbling around cones
Well,
to get better at soccer.
that's
so.
good. And we appreciate you being here because you do add the voice of credibility, the accent of credibility, as we've been joking all morning long.
Token foreigner, yeah, I like it.
Well, my name is Zach Christodoulides. For those of you that are fans of the show that used to be on radio here in Austin, Texas, the original Austin soccer radio talk show, The Throw-In. You'll know me. I was a producer back then, coming out here, joining you guys in front of not only the microphones, but we have a camera.
You're the best looking of the three. You
Oh,
should
that's
be
not
behind the
even
other
a little
side of the
bit.
glass.
That's
Well,
not
age
even a
before
little
beauty.
bit true.
Right, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, you guys definitely have that on
I
me.
like the
but
generational. We've got a
We
nice
do.
cross-generational thing going.
Dad?
Oh.
I could have gone worse. I could have been Dad.
No, I would have been like, well, Zach,
I don't know what that would make you, but
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I was
So
doing
who
that
are
much
you?
work. Who am I? I'm Smash, Justin Simmons. Your end-all and be-all when it comes to soccer here in the great state of Texas and especially in the ATX because of this show. And we're happy to be right back on the throw-in wherever you may be watching, whether it's on YouTube or you're going to catch the replay. Either way, we're glad to have you aboard once again.
And there's another reason we're here, which is Sellis Brewery. Fantastic, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
As you can see.
That actually came from Belgium. That whole
kit.
that cylinder did. Yeah, they
Wow.
bored it out. It was the original cylinder, and they bored
So
it
that
out.
was operational at one point.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and they had
Wow.
to bring it through this door.
Did they build the building around that?
Almost.
Yeah.
But Sellis is not only just a great brewery and good beer, but we are a stone's throw away from Austin FC, and that's the exciting part, and that's why we wanted to be here today, because literally you can walk from here and go straight to Michaela.
Yeah, you can
And
go
that
straight
is-
from here. It's less than half a mile as the bird flies.
So this is going to be quite a popular place, I would have thought, after
Oh,
matches.
definitely so. And can you imagine when this place is just full? We're talking about the acoustics during this Women's World Cup final, and you can just imagine a little bit of a party going on before you have that final walk to McCalla Place. It would get lit here. I'm telling you, it would be a really great
Justin's
time.
already thinking of the future here.
Well, yeah, man, this is already such a great place and it's such a great venue, and I'm glad that they were able to continue going on because it's the original brewery of Austin, Texas.
is, yeah.
The original craft brewery of Austin.
And so, guys, we're here to talk about the game we just watched and what a great World Cup it has been. So the FIFA Women's World Cup 2019 has just come to a close. America, the winners. What are your thoughts on this World Cup so far? I mean, honestly, it's been one of the better ones as a fan to watch.
Yeah, I really agree. I think the right team won, no question about it. I'm sad for my Lionesses, but they did a good job and they were a good team.
They
but,
had a valiant performance.
Yes, they did. But the USA in every department, frankly, and coaching too, British coach.
Yeah, there you go.
But I mean, to be honest, I think they were disciplined. They scored brilliantly. The whole tournament has impressed me.
Yeah.
Both the coverage, Fox, I think, did a brilliant
Fox
job.
has done a fantastic job. I was talking about that earlier today, too.
Yeah, I think the level of the game, the women's game, has gone skyrocket. I mean, we've all watched America and China and Sweden be strong teams over the years, but the level of technique now involved in the women's game, I actually like it. I like watching it because you can see what the coaches are trying to do. It's a slower game
You
than
can
the
see
men's
the
game, and you can
tactics.
actually see the tactics.
Yes, I absolutely 100% agree.
I was going to say I'm really appreciative of the Europeans starting to take the women's game more seriously.
Yeah.
Because now we've seen that the money has been invested. You have big clubs. Real Madrid just announced that they're going to have a women's team. Barca has one. The Premier League teams have really jumped on it. United getting started, Chelsea, City.
Yep.
And then it continues to grow in South America as well. So I foresee, even though the USA was victorious here today, I can strongly see the rest of the nations, especially where the money's being invested in the women's game, to catch up with us soon.
Well,
Yeah.
and the level of competition is only going to increase because a lot of these European leagues, what they're starting to do is they are starting to make it a necessity if you want to have a men's side to also have
a
a
women's
women's
side,
side. And that's only going to increase the competition here at events like this
Why?
and at competitions like
You
this.
want to know why you need a women's side? You need a women's side for little girls like her. That way they can see
Yes.
somebody like themselves
Yeah.
on the pitch, knowing that they can have a professional career.
And also in attendance here today at Salish Brewery is FC Austin Elite. If you want to stick around for a little while, we're going to have them on.
Yeah.
They just had a great game out at Circuit of the Americas at Bold Stadium for their season finale there. And it was an amazing atmosphere. Justin, you were there in attendance, and honestly, that's what this is all about. We talk about the women's game as a way to, during these World Cup cycles as a way to build the excitement, but there is women's soccer, especially here in Austin, Texas, that you can go and watch each and every year.
You keep catching me glancing down at my phone. I'm trying to send out the link to follow us on YouTube and on Twitter at the Throw-In ATX, by the way. But yes, it was an amazing atmosphere. And if you have listened to the show for many years, or if this is your first time, the one thing that we always pushed here on this show is support local soccer.
Yeah.
Because there is so much going on in the Central Texas area, whether it be a college team, a small college team, semi-pro, professional. We have it here in the ATX now. And it was amazing to see over 1,000 fans feel out Coda for a women's professional match.
And you know what? That was it was a Saturday night in Austin, Texas. There's so much to do.
4th of July weekend.
4th of July
Yeah.
weekend, and all of these people went out to go and show their support for the women's game here in Central Texas, and they turned up. And the atmosphere, from what I saw on the videos on social media, it was absolutely amazing. I was talking with Danny a little bit earlier, and I'm sure he's going to relay this story here in a bit. But he was talking about how the one thing he wanted for his team and his girls was for them to go out, have the standing ovation as they're walking out of the tunnel, because that is a professional stadium. And that is what he got, and that is what he was most excited about.
That is so cool. And I mean, another factor on this, Austin, I don't know if you know this, but Austin's ratings, TV ratings, were the highest in America. Consistently throughout the month of the World Cup, the ratings for the World Cup were the highest in Austin, the city of Austin. Afterwards was Kansas and San Diego.
Yeah.
But we were consistently at the top, if not in the number one spot, week in and week out for this World Cup. And not just U.S. games. I'm talking the entire World Cup.
And I think a lot of people on soccer Twitter anyway have brought that point up and said, look, this is another point that legitimizes Austin soccer. And you get, as we take the selfie here video now, you do have these people on soccer Twitter that are going around, and they are making it a point to say, look, Austin has always been at the top of these TV ratings. It's one of the reasons why we started this show, The Throw-In, 4 years ago, is because we saw this and we said, look, no one is talking about soccer on the radio here in Austin, Texas, and that is a problem because people here are watching it, people here care about it, people here love it. And when you have Austin consistently at the top of these TV ratings, it definitely draws an eye. People are looking at this and they're going, okay, what can we do? When Austin is outperforming cities like Portland that are about the same metro size, but they have a women's professional soccer team at the top level in that sport, what can we do to make this grow to the next level? And I think Austin FC was paying attention, and you definitely have FC Austin Elite paying attention, trying to get the most out of the momentum that this World Cup brings.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, this city is exploding soccer-wise. I mean, Bold are now entrenched, and I think they're going to make it to the playoffs in their first season, which is no mean feat.
Yeah.
Obviously, Austin FC is fastly coming. I've been watching the jobs going, and I mean, it's filling up nicely. The interest, I was at Chicago Airport the other day, and a guy was wearing, he was on my flight, so he was going back to Austin, but he had an Austin FC shirt on, and I was like, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Here I am in Chicago.
I just got back from a family vacation to Alaska, and on that trip, I wore my Austin FC hat, and people in Alaska and in Canada, they all recognize that crest. They're already starting
That's good.
And it's just an awesome feeling knowing that something that is starting living here in my hometown is going to make it, and it's going to be a worldwide sensation.
Can I ask you, gentlemen, about the Women's World Cup that we just witnessed?
Yeah.
Were you over-impressed by how America performed? I mean, or did you feel that it was almost like carte blanche, like you expected this to happen already, and maybe it was a little underwhelming because they made it look relatively easy in the second half?
I mean, should we start with the controversy that was Game 1 and 13 goals? Because we haven't been on the air to talk about it.
It's been a while. Yeah, I mean, I think you have to give this women's team a lot of credit for battling through the adversity that sometimes, and I think there's always a double standard here because it's men and women, and regardless of how you want to see it, that's how it really is being presented in some cases here. But I feel for some of the stuff that they had to go through, a men's team would have felt that was too much distraction. You hear it in men's pro sports all the time. Oh, he's a locker room cancer. Oh, that's too much of an off-the-field distraction. I don't know how they're going to play through that. But even when you have the guy who runs the country, at least for right now, criticizing you and your teammates, you're able to push through that and have this type of performance. I don't think a men's pro team would have been able to handle that. The media would have torn it up.
I think that there is definitely a double standard when it comes to that performance. I mean, you look at all that is meant for these women to go out there and perform at the highest level, and to perform that way and have 13 goals, yes, go out there and celebrate. I'm in the mentality of, you know what, you've worked hard for this. Go out there and live life, because that was an incredible moment, and it was a great way to start this World Cup. I mean, imagine us sitting here talking about this World Cup only having 1 or 2 or 3 goals because they let off the gas. I think it adds to the storyline.
I couldn't agree more. And you know, controversy, there was no controversy. If you were in a team and you train hard, you eat right, you sleep right, you work together, these 23 girls lived together, they went to England to train, they win 13-0. Yeah. That is tick. You tick the box. And by the way, once you get to that level, you absolutely play your heart out.
Well, that's just it. There was players coming into the game that were looking to get some playing time, hoping to crack that starting 11 for the next match. So, yeah, they're going to go out and give a full effort. Yeah. And it's the group stage. So, goal differential does count.
You don't let off. You do not let off.
Absolutely. And that's the thing that I think no one really talked about, is the fact that goal differential does matter.
Sweden could have beaten them 13-0.
Yes.
But, John, you have made this point off the air. We were talking about it when it came into the world of rugby, where some of those teams that don't have that culture, they didn't develop the game right away. They were beaten at World Cups 85-0, 92-0.
Yeah.
But then those teams started to get better over time because they had to face that adversity early on.
And that's always the way. Rugby is a burgeoning sport which, you know, had 12 core teams for many years because it's a colonial game, but now you've got the Samoas and you've got the Tongas coming in, and you've got the USA coming in. Not a rugby nation, but capable now of producing a world champion sevens team. So, you know, it's where you come from, your starting point, and soccer is growing big time. And yeah, Thailand are a long way off, but if you watch Thai professional soccer, it's not. You watch the Asian League, Thais are one of the best countries in the world, men's team, and I think their women will get better.
And they're up and coming, and this is the thing we talk about time and time again with the U.S. men's national team, bringing it back to the men's conversation, is that in order for them to get better, they're going to have to practice against better competition. They can't keep going and, you know, losing these games.
Or whatever it was. I mean,
Trinidad, it's all of these teams, and they're getting better, but as the level of intensity grows throughout all of soccer, it's only going to get better. The teams are only going to get stronger, and that's how people grow.
So there's no truth to the rumor that they only played the Gold Cup because they wanted to beat Trinidad and Tobago after their World Cup defeat.
I think that may have something to do with it. I think that they definitely wanted to. Added incentive, as it were.
A little added incentive, but for me, the diehard fan of the United States, it doesn't mean anything to beat them at Gold Cup. It doesn't mean anything for us to even win the Gold Cup, and I'm sure that's a discussion we'll have later on.
Yeah, that's going to be coming up here in a little bit, because the Gold Cup is coming up later tonight, the final on that.
Let me ask you guys about that. You saw it in the news. Megan Rapinoe very vocal about the fact that, hey, this is the Women's World Cup. This is supposed to be the biggest game on the calendar.
Why are you running 2 major leagues?
Yeah, because
major cups.
Yeah, 2 major finals on the very same day. Now, granted, as a soccer fan, I understand. Hey, great, back-to-back soccer. That's my full day spoken for. So you agree? It's not a good look.
No, I don't. Especially when it is just FIFA. I mean, you know, you have a choice of what you knew when the World Cup final for women was coming out, and you put the final of the Gold Cup and the Copa Americas Masters
There's
on
3
the
majors.
same day.
Yeah.
All right, they didn't cross over in time. That's not the point. And I mean, you almost get the feeling that FIFA probably looked at it and went, oh, great. Well, it's 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and then at 3 o'clock we can have that, and then at 7 o'clock. And I mean, no, people are exhausted. You know, I want to watch the men play today, but, you know, we've kind of, you know, you've just
had
seen
here,
the World
you've been
Cup.
here,
Well,
you've
that-
been here drinking all day long.
And
and
I'm a
it's-
few Celuses in.
I mean, and so here's the thing that I have. You've got these. I want to know how much the networks had to do with it, right? Because
That's
this
a good
is the thing.
point,
We
too.
talked about Fox having
True.
great, fantastic
Very true.
coverage of both tournaments already so far.
Yeah.
And here you know.
It's taken the sparkle off ESPN's ownership, if you will, of
They
soccer.
have, but Fox owns both the Gold Cup
Yeah.
now and the Women's
a
World
good
Cup,
point.
so it's going to be a doubleheader here on Fox with some
Sure.
8 hours in between.
I
so
know, but to give it up, I mean, if you're a network, why would you give up 2 great ratings and put them on the same day? It would seem like
Yeah.
you would want 2 strong rating days and 2 strong rating showings on separate days.
Yeah.
I think it helps you build the
And-
momentum
and
for
honestly,
soccer.
I don't want to belittle the Gold Cup, but you could hold it on a Tuesday night. It
Oh,
doesn't
definitely.
need to be a Sunday.
And I feel
agree.
like in the past they have, because it's always usually this cycle of Women's World Cup and Gold Cup or all of these other competitions, and you don't have to stagger the finals to be on the same day. You can make it work so that you have a final on a Monday or a
I mean,
Tuesday
you know,
or a
that
Saturday.
that game against Curacao, is it Curacao? Or how do you pronounce it?
Caraco?
No,
Yeah.
yeah, the 1-0.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the pundits were struggling
Oh, well,
to
yeah.
talk about a terrible performance by the men's team, that they should have won 6-0 maybe, and they didn't. It's exactly what you said. They need to be playing teams that are going to push them. And
That's
not,
just part of the federation, though.
Yeah,
The CONCACAF is not exactly as strong as CONMEBOL or UEFA, and that's just one of the faults. We're a big fish when it comes to the men's team.
should play in the Copa
in
Americas.
a small pond.
Get
They,
whooped by Brazil.
they don't always invite us.
Well, and we had the last.
And last time we ran into Messi at the Centenario.
Oh, you don't want to
Yeah.
do that.
He
You can get
destroyed
headbutted.
us. Oh, yeah. We have
I
to
don't
talk
know
about
what
what
that's
happened
all
to
about. He didn't headbutt anybody.
No,
the guy
but-
headbutted him.
But no, he went against the Pitbull.
It
Gary
was very
Vidal.
messy.
Yeah, very messy. I see the pun. I love
Yeah.
the puns. But we'll get back to that portion a little bit later on. But when it came to the Women's World Cup, yes, I agree with you. You're right. It should have been held separate days. I don't understand what the network was thinking. I'm not sure if it was you or maybe one of the fans from the FC Austin Elite game yesterday night, but they had mentioned that last time this had happened, back in 2015 when the show first originally made its...
when we were getting launched,
Yeah, when we first launched, we were actually so we went from Women's World Cup to Women's World Cup. It's been a nice 4 years.
It has.
But they had mentioned beforehand that FIFA had previously scheduled this out to where it was the Women's World Cup, and then it ended, and then Gold Cup started afterwards.
Yeah, that should have been.
And that would have worked out great because there's still plenty of soccer
Follow it
left.
with the men's. Yeah, absolutely.
And absolutely, right now you've got a period where all of
Here we go.
There we go. There's the
Yes.
crowning in the background here. If you guys can hear that and see that,
Take a look, Donald. That's the last you'll see of them.
the trophy has now been lifted for the U.S. Women's National
That's
Team.
awesome.
4 time. 1, 2, 3, 4
Four
time.
4 stars over that crest.
Yeah.
That is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I would love for the men's team to at least win one in my lifetime. I'm not sure if
I'm
I'll
not
ever
sure
see
if that's
that
something
happen.
we're going to see.
You know that the Germans, the Dutch, the French, who, let's face it, could have had a handball, things could have gone quite differently,
Yep.
and the Brits, the English, Scots, Wales,
You're just going to
Ireland.
keep. I was going to. You're just going to.
No,
Europe,
But I
all
think
of
they're
Europe,
all going to
the
go
rest of
back
the
and
world.
go, hey, America is the benchmark. They
How do
are
we
the
get
best
there?
team in the world, but they're not unbeatable.
No, and I
They're
think
not
we-
unbeatable.
Let me ask you guys this: how much longer can America dominate? Because we talked about the money's
Long
being
as they
invested
won.
in this club, but I think we already saw it in this World Cup where they kind of rely too much on their athleticism and their prior resume.
I think in the next 4 years, there's definitely going to be a lot of growth in the other countries that are
Yeah.
going to mandate that these clubs have women's teams.
Yeah, and also I think you're seeing, like I know that the English players are now coming to university here,
Yes.
as so many athletes have done over the years. American university and American programs, that's where you're going to get the strength and depth, and that's what the other countries are missing.
But let me ask you guys this: but I mean, when we're talking about the women's game in America professionally, the league is there. But it's not doesn't have the backing like these European
Oh, no.
leagues
And
have.
that's-
And how much longer can we run with a subpar women's league and expect to win world championships if that's where we're going to be drawing our player pool from?
I think
unless
that's-
they're coming from Europe.
That's where the expectation needs to be before the next World Cup. something needs to be done here in the United States to improve that league and to improve.
I think this will be a catalyst.
System.
Today will be a huge catalyst. I mean, it's woken up the networks to the potential of the viewing,
Absolutely.
which changes the game
Yeah.
because that means it sponsors and money and so on. And I think you will see a change. And I think yes, it's taken 4 World Cups, but I think America will see. The women's game's bigger than the men's game here. I mean, because of the activity.
They
Especially because of the momentum that they've
Right.
built going the last few months.
You go to high school now, there's more women playing soccer than there are probably men.
I agree with that, but it's about getting the eyes on the product and then having a product that's sustainable on the pitch. You look at a team like Sky Blue FC, they are a total joke.
Yeah.
They had that horrible write-up last season. They're kind of rebuilding, but that is supposed to be your top-tier league. And now you have the likes of Real Madrid putting money and Juventus putting money into the game. If I'm an American player, I'm not going to want to stay here.
Well, and that's
I'm
the
going to
question.
want to go to Europe.
And that's the question. Are these players going to want to go overseas because there is excitement there and there is this momentum building? And does America now, in exchange, does the U.S. Soccer Federation need to also have the same mandate? That's the question I want to pose to you guys. Do we need to have the requirement, if you want a Major League Soccer team, you also need to operate a women's team?
I think so.
I agree. I tend to agree. I think that,
It doesn't have to be professional immediately. I think semi-professional to start with.
but the ultimate goal needs to be to get them there.
Yeah.
I agree, and that's not just because.
So where are Austin FC on that?
They're working on it. I mean, they're looking into it, I think, is the phrase that they're always going after whenever it gets brought up, because it does get brought up here in Austin.
Because they had some shenanigans about academy teams and young teams and girls and boys.
Yeah, there was a little bit where
We've already seen a U14 team named.
for the boys, and there was
Yes.
criticism during the city council meetings of this past year where they came in and said, this is going to support young boys. What about the women? And they've taken some strides in making sure that there is a little bit of equal representation in those community benefits.
Yeah.
But there's definitely more that can be done. And I was going to say, for me, as someone who's matured in MLS fandom as a Portland Timbers fan up until Austin FC's existence. They have the Portland Thorns, and they're under the same ownership group, and they are wildly successful. I've been to games in Portland where they have a doubleheader with the women and then the men, and they'll fill up that stadium. They fill up the stadium for the women's game, and I think that is something that if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty, can absolutely happen here in Austin.
Well, I'll date myself here, but
Oh, boy.
I'm not a betting man, and I'm certainly not an investor.
Are you even British if you're not a betting man?
But I was at the Meadowlands, and I saw Pele play and Beckenbauer back in the day, back in the 70s, and I thought this was going to happen. I thought soccer was going to take off in the US and the Cosmos,
Okay.
It didn't. I mean, not the way they wanted it to.
Yeah.
And it now has. But if I was a betting man, I would bet more on the women's game taking off more successfully first time around than the men's game.
I think you get a lot of people here, and this World Cup for me has been the catalyst for this. You see them.
About the dream team. You talk about the women's basketball team. We expect domination, and ever since 1999, because I know they won it before that, but that 99 moment, that team was so special. It really solidified the fact that the United States, while we don't have it in the men's game, we were going to be a powerhouse at women's soccer. And again, I love the win. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad that we won again today. I thought they had a fantastic tournament. Each time that there was something that was in their path, whether it would be the coach, Jill Ellis, where they were like, hey, I'm not sure if she's making the best decisions. Does she have the right tactics? Apparently it worked out. You talked about Rapinoe, Morgan, that they have enough left in the tank. Yes, apparently they did. They had a fantastic tournament. Everything fell into place despite all the criticism. I'm just concerned that we saw a team like Spain where we couldn't score in the run of play. That tells me our tactics are falling off as a women's team, and that other nations are starting to get stronger in that department, a problem that we already see on the men's side. And then we go into the next round where we do a little bit better, and then we continue to fight hard, but we have strong teams that are coming up. France had a legitimate shot at beating us. I think they wilted under the pressure at being at home. And, of course, you have a team like England that's I'm sorry, mate, but traditionally unlucky.
Even doing a mate there for you.
For two incidents, one the penalty miss and two the handball.
I know it could have been different.
It could have been. I mean, we could have won that game.
And White very unlucky, unfortunately,
very unlucky.
because even in the third place game, she had a goal called back.
Let me, if I can, sum up what I think where you're going, which is you're right. America is the dominant team, and they proved it again today. But the truth is, Europe and the other countries are coming. Look at Holland. They're new. They're European champions, and they made it all the way to the final. And I think the competition's going to get better. And I say bring it on. And the USA should say bring it on, which means now the level is higher. And now, with more games, more teams, more professional teams, I think also the Americans playing abroad doesn't do any harm. And I think, all boats rise. Honestly, the level of the game is higher than it's ever been. It used to be, if you remember when the World Cup started, it was China and the USA. That was it. No one else had a look in.
Yeah.
Sweden maybe.
Oh, you had Marta.
Yeah, all right.
Who was amazing.
Yeah. Well, Brazil always.
But Marta had some great moments despite her last World Cup. And I mean, when you talk about fantastic women players, she's one of them. I mean, and this is the first World Cup where I really felt that you could look at other teams besides the United States, like you just mentioned, and be like, hey, there's other star players available from almost every nation that was represented in this World Cup, and they're going to expand after this. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen.
I want to talk about that expansion, but I also want to throw this out there, too. We want to know what you guys are thinking. If you're sitting at home watching this, you can tweet at the show, at the Throw-In ATX.
Well, and we're going to get an actual woman on the show to talk soccer in a
Absolutely.
minute.
It's not going to be
ugly
three guys. Yeah.
So speak for yourself, mate.
So that's So that's at the Throw-In ATX. You can also hit us up on any of our personal Twitters.
Yes, at Speed Green.
At Soccer is a Sport.
At the Smash Simmons.
And we'll definitely be reading and viewing those messages here on the show. So we want to hear your opinions, too. Do you think the U.S. women's national team deserved this title? Do you think they played well enough that in the future this is going to be an issue? Do you think that the growth of the women's game here is going to be as strong as we think it is here in the next 4 years and beyond? So definitely talk to us on social media there as well.
Are we taking a beer break? Is that what this is?
Well, you need to get your glass refilled.
I need to get my glass refilled, and I'm going to go and get Liz Amanda.
All right. Well, let's take the beer break. We'll take the beer break, and then we'll be right back with more. The Throw-In, live from Sellers Brewery.
Done.
right, welcome back here. We are live at Celis Brewery here in, what would you call this, North Austin?
Right off
I would
Metric.
say it's soccer country because
That's
we're a mile away from Austin FC.
Half a mile
half a
away
mile.
from Austin FC, the
And
future home.
we've made an executive decision in the break. It's all very well, three blokes talking about women's soccer. Let's get a female,
woman, yes.
a woman soccer player to talk about it.
Yes. Hello.
Absolutely.
This is Liz Amanda,
Liz Amanda Brown.
Liz Amanda Brown.
That's right.
goalkeeper for.
FC Austin Elite here in Austin, Texas.
Cool.
Had the big victory yesterday night at the Bolt Stadium against the Athenians from San Antonio, 3-1.
Yep.
Yes.
So not only did you guys have a great crowd, over 1,000 people on
We
hand,
did.
but you guys beat your rivals from down the road on I-35. Tell me, besides, I know we talked about it off the air, besides the lack of a clean sheet because you saved that penalty, how was the atmosphere last night? How did it feel to play in front of so many people?
It was amazing to play in front of so many people, and I think that allowed good pressure for the players to play to their full potential and give off a great performance for the whole team. We won 3-1, and we had some great goals, and I had good communication with my team. And the crowd was amazing. They were great. They were so engaging and saying, ooh, ah, creating their chants with Austin Elite, and it's awesome.
That's awesome.
What's your take on what you've just watched and obviously a month of great soccer for women?
Yes, I did my life.
We've just sort of we've just summed it up. But where do you think the women's game is going now?
I am so excited for what's to come for the women's game, actually. So this month it showed that a lot of teams are growing and they're getting, they have more full potential to create more competition for not only the U.S. team, for everyone around. So I think it's going to be a great competition coming up for the next few years. While hopefully we are getting more funding and more engagement with the women's soccer team, that's what we really need. And it's going to be so interesting to see the competition.
Who impressed you?
Ooh, so many goalkeepers.
Definitely know what you were
I must
watching.
admit,
Yes.
to be honest, I said this to you earlier. The level of goalkeeping
Yes.
is brilliant in the
Let
World
me-
Cup.
Can I ask you this question
Yeah.
about goalkeeping?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the rule in VAR when it came to the penalty kicks?
on the line.
Yeah.
So I wrote this on Twitter before. I'm like, okay, so if they make the penalty kick, they don't actually check the VAR.
No, they
don't.
See,
Yeah, right? No kidding.
But if they miss, they're like, oh,
Oh,
let's
wait.
see where the feet are
Yeah.
of the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
and that gives a whole lot of
It's a double standard.
yeah, almost. Yeah.
To be honest, even before VAR, the goalkeeper moving before a penalty
the ball.
has
not gonna-
always been controversial.
It's always,
I
yeah.
mean, there used to be a point where goalkeepers would jump a foot forward
Of
to,
course.
Oh, yeah.
to create a
wider.
wingspan. Yeah.
Even so, like, I know, like, sometimes we're told to actually jump forward, so we give them a little, like, a scare. So they're
Yeah.
like, oh, they got to retake it again. So, I mean,
Yeah.
but still, yeah, it's iffy.
So basically
It's
not
brutal.
a fan, huh?
Okay, what's your...
No, I am a fan. Like, I get it. Like, I do get the whole keep your 2 feet on the line. They actually now require only 1 foot on the line.
Yep.
But just at the point at where they call it, I think it's a little.
I don't think it should be a VAR judgment.
Definitely,
It's,
I
it's
agree.
just not part of the same thing.
That's something. It's something that where the center referee can be paying enough attention to it at the
Right.
time to
There's
call it
nothing else
live.
happening, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's
Plus,
nothing else going on.
It's so difficult, and I think you will
Yes.
attest to this, to save a penalty
Yes.
that, I mean, you should be rewarded if you get your hand on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you ever actually walked? I mean, I never played goalkeeper, but if you actually stand in an empty goal and walk
Yeah.
from one end to the other, there's a lot of room to get a ball.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's plenty of
The
room.
pace of the ball, you have to judge all that, and it's.
And there's plenty of time to overthink it and try
Oh,
to see, I
that's
want
the
to
worst
place
part.
it in the upper 90 on the left
Oh,
side.
yeah.
But maybe
Yeah,
the keeper's going to dive that way. Maybe I should go right.
Okay, Liz Amanda, I got a question for you.
Yes.
I think the hardest player or position for the United States this World Cup
Yes.
was the goalkeeper.
What's the goalkeeper for Nair? I'll say that since she stepped up because Hope Solo was in there, it was good to get to see the exposure that she would get.
Okay.
Because they played against teams where they don't get as much action in the back, and so we're all waiting for the end of this World Cup to see how's Nair going to do, how she's going to do, and she did a great job. Whenever she did get the exposure there, she did get a little nervous. I feel when she was playing against. dang. Too many games.
There were
too
so
many
many
games.
Probably England.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
she
going to
did
say
look
she
a
did
little bit.
a little
England
iffy
game,
there,
yeah,
but
with the footwork and everything.
And she did have a couple of mistakes
Yes.
earlier on in the tournament
She
where the
did.
bad passes and such.
Exactly.
It's a real captain's role in a weird way. When your goalkeeper is vocal and
yeah.
confident, the whole team can rise.
Yeah, you're definitely the coordinator of everything.
Yeah,
especially
this is
on
a
in the
quarterback kind of
defense.
position,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you saw Liz Amanda last night, I think she's got the whole vocal thing down. as
Okay, good.
goalkeeper. That's for sure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
There was
your
a loud
coach, your coach says you can fly.
Yes.
There was a loudspeaker playing music in the background of this
You could
game.
hear her.
You could hear her over it.
That's awesome.
That's for sure.
No, I used to play goalkeeper when I was a kid, and I definitely understand that you are the leader of that back line.
Yeah,
So
you
you
have to be.
absolutely.
What about Austin generally? You play for the top team here, but obviously we've got Bold now, and we've got Austin FC. Will all boats rise? Will we get the same interest that the men's game is going to be getting in the next 2 years?
That's what we're working on. And FC Austin Elite has actually been here for 5 years already. And we're just getting more of a boost because of the Women's World Cup. And I hope that after this season, people are willing to actually come in even when the Women's World Cup isn't playing and everything like that. So, yeah, we're just hoping for more engagement and hoping for more commitment on the team and everything. And
Yeah.
And you're hoping to build the momentum from this World Cup
Exactly.
going forward, and I think you guys have done that. The videos that you see, if you weren't able to make it out to the game last night, go back and look at these videos because the crowd there was absolutely amazing.
So cool.
The atmosphere there was just absolutely incredible.
It was so fun to play, and our whole team was like, we had such a blast.
Yeah, and getting
It
that
was fun.
week in and week out
Yeah.
would be an
It
awesome
would be,
experience. And I think it's
yeah.
definitely possible here in Austin because we
Yeah.
are so ready for soccer at all levels. I mean, we've talked about it on this show before for years, and Austin really could be the place going forward. You look at we were talking about it in the last segment, the TV ratings for this World Cup. Like, we are ready to go and support the women's game here in
It's
Austin.
awesome to see so many people come out to the game yesterday from Austin here. You don't get that in a lot of places.
You know, we were talking about it a little earlier. Let me ask you, since you actually play the game right now, are you maybe a little concerned about how well the U.S. is going to do in the future when it comes to the women's game, just because we have seen a rise of funding in the European game? And, you know, they were drawing 20,000 fans out to watch the Milan Derby. And I'm just thinking Real just put in so much money to support the women's side.
I feel like a lot of the other countries got a little taste of what U.S. really is. I mean, they come back to back and won World Cup twice. But I think the competition is much stronger than it was before from other countries, and I think they're going to grow off with that as well, and their performance in the World Cup too. So it's going to be greater in all aspects.
So a lot of these other countries are starting to mandate that if you want to have a top-tier men's team in their local leagues, that you also need to have a women's team. So what are your thoughts on that, and do you think that's something that the U.S. should implement? Because I'm over the moon for that idea. I think it's great.
I think it's a great idea because that is what the European teams are doing. They're saying, if you're going to have this team, we're going to fine you if you don't have a women's team, which is a great idea because women out there love soccer. We're passionate about it. We can be we're skilled, and it can be a lot more fun to watch than men's soccer because we take hits.
Yeah, you do.
You guys don't dive.
To be honest, we were just saying what I've enjoyed about this World Cup is because it is a relatively slower game than the men's game, you actually can see the tactics of the coaches coming into play. And also because women are far more disciplined, I believe, that they actually do play you can see them working a corner and okay, now we're going to go wide. And I think Phil Neville is a great coach. I think your coach, the American coach, is a good coach, Alice. And I think that we're also seeing that side of the game much more clearly than we do in the men's. And all the histrionics of the men's, makes you laugh now when you think about it.
Well, or cry.
Yeah.
We'll cry. At least you guys make World Cups.
Yeah.
Except for that 94 one. We invited you all, but you guys didn't come.
Man.
Oh, gosh.
Don't even go there.
I know, you two were like, oh gosh, I wasn't even born in 1990 whatever, so how would I even know? How would I know? It's all good,
All right, last question, because I want to touch on something that I think is, and I said this, I think the business of the women's game in America could grow exponentially. And now with this, again, with another victory for the USA, I do a lot of motorsport, and the women in motorsport, I've always said it's crazy because marketing-wise, you bring women's products, women-only products, or products that are more interest to women,
Slanted.
let's say, or it could be makeup, could be clothes, could be anything.
High fashion.
Design, right. I mean, the potential is huge.
Yeah, they just actually announced that the U.S. sold more jerseys than the men.
Whoa,
yeah. And that's to be expected, I think.
That's cool.
After what's happened not only in this cycle, but for the men as well. Like, you guys, honestly, like, the women deserve to be more effective in the money making, because
they
that's
deserve to be paid more.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because they won a World Cup, and they deserve at least a cut of the royalties from selling all these jerseys, obviously, because they've outsold the men, because, again, America loves winners.
Yes.
Yep. Very true.
Tell us,
All
the rest of the season, I know that was the last home match. You guys are still sitting on the playoffs. Is that correct?
Yes, we're still waiting to see what the feedback's going to be, because we're in a wild card situation right now. With the
So yesterday
amount of
night's win
wins
was
and
huge.
losses. So it was a huge win for us, and it was an amazing win for us. And if we finish our season like that, we finished with a bang, really.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm excited. I was satisfied.
Well, great.
Well, Liz Amanda Brown, the starting goalkeeper for the FC Austin Elite Women's Soccer Club here in Austin, Texas. Thank you again for joining us here
thanks for coming
on
on.
our
Having me
relaunch.
so much.
And we look forward to hoping that you guys get at least one more match and test your melee
I hope
out
so
of the playoffs.
too. I hope so too.
Absolutely. We're going to have to take another beer break. Looks like Justin needs a little bit of a refill here.
That's why we're at Celis.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. right, we are back here live at Celis Brewery. Again, if you guys want to come out, this is a great brewery, one of the Austin originals for craft beer. What is everyone drinking? What do you have?
I like it.
Okay.
I could recommend this.
A pitch
That's
to
how
the
he normally sounds, so I
effectiveness,
can't tell the difference.
Yeah,
anymore.
No, there's no difference. Really.
A pitch to the effectiveness of the beer there.
Is that a
It's really
camera?
good. Yeah,
It's
no,
really big.
This is a microphone. It's really small.
Oh, Anyway, carry on.
Anyways, I'm drinking the Grand Cru, which is
that is.
amazing.
Oh, that's the strong stuff.
It is the strong stuff, which is
Do you
why I'm
have
only
a-
halfway
yeah,
through.
okay, that chair's fairly stable.
It's,
Good.
Well,
yeah,
let's
I've
see,
got 4 legs,
Good,
so
good,
we'll
good.
be fine.
I've already had like one lager, a couple of Celis
Oh,
Whites.
the Celis Whites, those are the best.
And if you haven't been here, you can actually take a tour around the
yeah.
whole facility. It's really kind of cool.
Yeah, so definitely come and stop by. We're hoping to be here, hopefully more often here in the future.
Yeah,
this
we might
could
just
be-
sleep here.
Yeah, this will be our new home, away from home anyway.
like
if
it.
they would allow me to sleep here, I probably would.
And
I
one
got everything I need.
Yeah.
TV
TV and beer.
beer.
beer, done.
Air conditioned,
They
too.
got a couch for you right there.
Yeah, it's
Perfect.
perfect.
All right. And one of the best parts about filming this episode here, the great relaunch episode of The Throw-In, is that we are literally within a half mile of
throw-
McCalla Place.
A long throw in, a sort of,
yeah.
a sort of
yeah, you know, the
Brazilian
long throw,
style.
As you would say,
over
a
the
stone's
head.
throw.
a stone's throw.
throw.
Exactly.
Yes. So you go out, you turn left, and
I'll teach
then
you,
within
boys.
half a
Hey,
mile,
guys,
you're
it's
there.
rubbing off. It's rubbing off.
Well, you know, as we said at the beginning of the show, you are our token foreign accent.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
It is merely a stone's throw from Michaela, and
Yes.
therefore Austin FC.
And so that's why we wanted to talk a little bit about Austin FC, because
Yes.
they've been making a lot of noise lately, and it's the good kind of noise that builds excitement about the club. It started a few months ago with their billboards that went up around town. You know,
Yep.
there was a little bit of drama there, first and only.
When isn't there drama?
Yeah,
When
well,
it surrounds
when
this
it comes
team,
to
right?
Austin soccer, and again, if you guys haven't seen, there was a great article in the Austin Chronicle last week's
It was
edition.
it was the front page.
Soccer Wars.
Yeah.
Soccer Wars.
Soccer Wars.
I like the for those of you that
That's
know
my Monster Energy. Soccer Wars.
the monster truck, the truck voice. Yes, the monster truck
Once
voice.
in a world where soccer wars coming to Austin.
I just liked how on the cover of that they had the Pete Reed lawyers in suits playing soccer.
Yeah, exactly,
With
yeah.
the logos over the faces. So
but it's genuine.
Yeah,
it is.
To be
And no,
fair,
it's-
and I think it's a
is.
good thing.
And you say a picture is 1,000 words, worth 1,000 words. That pretty much summed it up really great.
No, it really was. And so there's been that going back to the billboards. Those came out, and then a few weeks later they said, hey, guys, pay attention because here coming up, we're going to have the season ticket membership deposits. And that whole process went bonkers.
Amazingly
didn't it?
well, I guess. is a
Yeah,
good
it
word to
was
put
it was absolutely incredible. The amount of support that they had. That was the day I was leaving on that trip to Alaska. Was
Yep.
the day that those season tickets went on sale. And right before I boarded the flight, the
You're
news
just sitting
broke.
there?
Yeah, I was
Refresh,
like, yeah,
refresh,
yeah,
refresh.
Yeah, no. But right before I boarded the flight, the news broke that we had broken an MLS record.
That is incredible.
30,000 season ticket membership deposits.
Well, we always say
That
Austin
is
loves
really
soccer.
impressive.
Yeah.
But unlike, can I throw the little jab at the Crew fans?
I mean,
unlike
you
the
can
Crew
try.
fans, we're actually probably going to show up.
No, and so and,
I'm just saying.
And-
it's true.
And let's be fair here, because it is not 30,000 individual
just-
people. It is
exactly.
30,000 seats.
Yeah.
And I think the best part about that whole plan is that they are going to have a built-in wait list. If each
Yep.
one of those seats actually does commit to a full season ticket, they are going to have about a 10,000 seat wait list. And if they don't, great. They have. That was just day one. They're going to have so much more opportunities to get the sales team, which, by the way, they're hiring salespeople. They've hired that sales staff. If you've put your name down for that season ticket deposit, you've gotten a phone call from Austin FC going, hey, I just wanted to talk to you about that process. Here's what it's going to be going forward.
It
Do you have
happened
any
last time we were
questions?
hanging out. They
It
called
did.
you.
Yes.
We were watching
Don't-
a match.
Don't you think, though, this isn't really a surprise? I mean, I've been in Austin 10 years, and Austin's been just bursting for something professional. Whether it be an NBA team, an NFL team, University of Texas is different.
It is.
And it's
Yes.
never going to get any smaller. It's huge. It's fantastic. Texas's football, all good.
But if you didn't
But
go
it's-
there,
Yeah, right. If you didn't go there, you were not going to get a ticket to go to the games. So everybody's been wanting to take their kids to something
else.
that says Austin
And
sport.
you're a
Yes.
prime example of this, right? Because you moved to Austin.
Yep.
You are not an Austin original. Do you actually care? I mean, to
Yes.
be blunt, do you care about UT?
No.
Okay,
Okay.
you're
sorry.
like, I care
Yes.
about Austin. Yes, I
but-
do.
but
No, I
University of
care
Texas.
about I care about a city having a passion
Yeah.
sport behind it,
And it's not something that we've had
And
before.
U2 is hard to buy into when you're not an ex-UT.
Exactly.
When you didn't go there, when you're not an
didn't go there.
alumnus,
Yeah,
you don't have that connection.
I follow UT, and the quarterback thing's been great for the last
and
couple of years,
decades,
strong, and everything else. And
decades.
And I understand America. I love American football, but the bottom line is, unless you're in the clique, you're not in the clique, so to speak.
And
a lot of people, let's be honest, are also moving from California, and
You're right.
Californians are a little bit bitter about what happened back in 2005.
But the other thing is
Bring that up.
Austin, it's not just California, though. Austin is truly becoming, slowly but slowly, an international city.
Yeah.
Because you have to give credit to how it all started. You had F1, you bring in the Grand Prix, instant international flair. You have Austin City Limits. People make their holiday around that one festival or South by Southwest, and all that just continues to grow. And now it's finally getting to the point where, hey, you had the Ice Bats, we had the arena football team, the Austin Swing never came alive because they moved out to Round Rock, but finally you have a legit top-tier professional team going on.
And there was never going to be another NBA stuff.
Exactly.
With San Antonio, with what they've got, you've got Dallas,
Dallas,
you've got Houston,
San Antonio.
You're never going to get a
you're
fourth.
not an NFL. We've got the motorsport, but that is such a niche and different thing.
True.
That you can't, and unless you have an American, unless a Connor Daly or Rossi gets to a Formula One level, they're never going to get behind it.
Yeah, I don't think you're ever going to get baseball because they have the teams. You're never going to get basketball because they have already the teams in Texas.
Soccer's definitely the way.
Soccer's the way to get the top-tier professional team because you're never going to get American football. The University of Texas would never allow
and you're
American
right. And in
football
fact,
team.
when I first arrived, you asked me the question. I heard that the main reason, because I always used to say, well, why isn't there a professional? And they'd say, UT doesn't want it.
Yeah. They make so much money. They have so much money, and that's no
They
disrespect.
want to be the number one team.
They were the number one team. It's their domains, their house, and they kind of dictate. And they had the stadiums. They were the only place that were they controlled.
Dems who has the gold.
Basically,
exactly.
my friend.
You talk about that. There was a few years ago where the first Manchester derby that was ever going to be played outside of England was going to be played at Darrell K. Royal. It was going to be played on UT, and there was an issue, and the game had to be postponed by one day. And the University of Texas said, we're not going to allow that. That game actually had to be moved to Houston, Texas because
spring football camp
of UT.
Summer football camp. Football camp.
There was two of the biggest sports franchise in the world.
Anywhere. And it had to be moved to Houston because the University of Texas did not want to accommodate.
I went to that game, by the way.
So did we.
Took my dad.
Yeah, I did. I
really
did
good.
Too.
I mean, when else would you get to see two of the powerhouses and get a Manchester derby in the United States?
Don't take this the wrong way. It's not like we're knocking the University of Texas. We love the University of Texas.
We love women's
for what
soccer. We talked to Ange Kelly.
Yeah, we've talked about this all the time. It's not something that UT has a monopoly of. Soccer is definitely a different game, and it's a different sport. So that's going to be how professional soccer gets in. So
that's why we're live.
With that being said, we've known this for a very long time, and we've wanted professional soccer to be developed here. It's finally coming with Austin FC.
Yeah.
And the question is, what's the next step? Because we've had the season ticket membership deposits. The next step is going to be groundbreaking of the stadium, again, within a half mile of Celis Brewery. That's going to be in September. In the meantime, Austin FC is hiring like gangbusters right now. They've just hired their new director of broadcast.
Yes.
And they're hiring personalities. They're hiring sales. We've already talked about that. There's so much going on over there.
Wait. They're hiring personalities? We didn't get a phone call yet.
Well.
Where's our phone call?
Stand by.
All right.
But I think there's nothing but excitement growing for Austin FC and what's going to happen.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Let me say this. I think the next step is going to have to be true fan engagement. And I'm not saying that they don't have people going out and engaging with these town hall meetings and stuff, but like really coming together, and this is going to take part of the anthem too, having that constant communication to see what's going on next.
The involvement of a community.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they've already started doing that with the community benefits. They've got the $25,000 that they just donated to Upper 90 through the 4ATX Foundation.
To our friend Caitlin Schwartz.
Yes, they're going out and doing all of these things. They're starting the Austin FC fan experience is what I think they're going to be calling it out at their offices, which again are right by the domain, very close to where we're at right now at Celis Brewery. All of these things are going to make the community engagement so much stronger because over the next few months, they don't really have a whole lot to build on until that stadium starts construction and until they have something tangible.
I'll tell you what, the timing couldn't be better. I was in the domain the other week, and look how quickly that is now thriving
Oh,
as
yeah.
they call it Upper Austin now. It's like
Yeah.
Is that what it's called now?
No, it's called Uptown.
Uptown?
Oh, I'm going Uptown.
I live in Uptown now?
I live in
That's
Uptown.
great.
It is the
But
second
you got
downtown.
those bars now are definitely, hey, I don't want
I
to go
feel
on
so
6th
chic.
Street. I don't want to go on Rainy, so I'm going to go Uptown.
gonna go
but
Uptown.
people
Oh my
do.
God.
And I do. But I also think that is going to create a great vibe a mile away from the stadium.
Oh, I don't have any doubt about the vibe. I just don't know if I can call it Uptown. I mean,
Well,
North
you don't
Central
know.
Austin's okay.
Uptown Tap Rankin.
Yes, I see where you're getting at, but Uptown.
I mean, it's definitely
We're there at that
motivated
point.
me on a personal note to move more north. I've been a Southwest Austin guy my entire life, and coming up here less than a month away, I'm going to be moving.
Are you all right up here?
I'm going to be here. I'm going to be right on Burnett Road. It's
Fair
gonna
enough.
Be,
Oh,
yeah,
right.
it's going to be an amazing part of town to live in, and I think it's only going to grow with all of this coming to town. So Austin FC, I think I speak for everyone here when we say that you cannot come soon enough, and it's going to be fantastic to have a community partner engaged in this. And think about the marches to the stadium from Celis Brewery on game day.
I
That's
want
true.
to get a bus from downtown to Sellers Brewery.
From
So-
downtown to
Oh, wait,
uptown.
I
and
don't
then
want
we
any
walk
bus,
the
though.
rest of
It's got to
way.
be the party bus.
The party
the party
bus.
bus. Yeah,
Right.
the keg bus.
And hopefully at some point we'll have somebody from Austin FC on the show and we can discuss this more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We are in talks to have that happen. So there's definitely a few people that Austin FC would like us to bring on, and I think that we'd love to have them. So we're definitely going to have that here in the future, so stay tuned for that.
So let me ask you, since we talked about it before we close the show and everything, Gold Cup
Okay.
is tonight, and
Yep.
The
regardless
final.
if you agree with the fact that it's played on the same day of the Women's World Cup,
Regardless of the fact that it may as well just be a participation trophy.
is that what you see? That's what I was going to ask you. How
That's-
do you see this Gold Cup final? I mean, it's
I
UA
see-
versus Mexico. It's a huge matchup anytime these two teams meet. I remember going down to the Alamo Dome. It was an exhibition, and that place
Yeah.
was lit, off the
Yeah, yeah.
chain. So I can only imagine when it actually at least means a trophy in I was going to say international, but intercontinental competition.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it is a participation trophy, but it's one that the United States can actually
Well, how
win.
bad do we need to win it?
Badly.
Heavily, yes.
I'll
Do
tell
we
you
need to
why.
win it more than
I'll tell you
Mexico?
why. You said it earlier in the show. America need to win this badly because the competition in the Gold Cup is rubbish.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that like...
It's just CONCACAF. It's fine.
It's just not the competition. America needs to play against Mexico, against Brazil, against
Europe.
teams that
Uruguay.
are worthy of...
Basically
And
Kona
Mexico
Bowl.
absolutely is a world power in soccer.
Absolutely.
So this is the first game, and I've watched, Panama and all, and they honestly, USA have played rubbish. They should be beating these teams 4-0, and then they should be 1-1, maybe 2-1 against Mexico today. But if they win 2-0 today, okay, you're forgiven.
Let me get your
2-0. Dos a cero, my
Can I
friend.
have your perspective on this because you actually have a
We have a fan. There's a fan. They're on the pitch. They think it's
Hey.
all over.
Hey, FC
The Austin Elite.
Hey, again, big 3-1 victory last night.
Big
over
shout out though
to Danny
Liz
Woodfield
Amanda. What a
and
girl.
Liz Amanda
Top
Brown
girl.
coming on again. Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for coming on the show.
She saved the show.
Yeah, we look forward to
can
finding
save
out-
anything, evidently.
She can save pretty much anything. If it's a PK, she'll save it. That's for sure.
And she doesn't eat. No, anyway.
But you
Go
know,
on, your perspective, you were gonna say.
But I was saying that this is a team that's consistently in flux. I'm talking about the U.S. I
Yes.
mean, you see a lot of old veterans. You see Pulisic is really our wonder kid. He's our
Yeah.
our boy wonder.
And it's
You
been
can't
great
build
to
a-
see him.
But you can't build a,
Perform well.
Pele, people forget that he had 10 other guys that were really good too. You
That's
can't
just
build
it.
a team on one guy.
No, and they have some other youngsters like
Yeah.
McKennie who looks
McKennie
really
looks
good.
very
And
good.
then you got Zach Steffen who's
Yeah,
going to look like he's going to.
Altidor's getting them. We're soaking him dry. I think he's
yeah.
getting some time.
I know, but I'm still just not. I'm not sure Greg Berhalter is like the right choice. Like, granted, they've won enough games to get to this point, and Mexico struggled too. You could argue that they shouldn't have beat Haiti, and they only got by 1-0, and that was thanks to another fantastic performance.
want
and goal.
Mourinho?
No, by Ochoa.
Do
Do you want Mourinho?
you want Mourinho?
Do you not want Mourinho? I mean,
No, I don't
Yeah,
want
no, I don't want
Mourinho.
Mourinho. I can't
Well,
stand.
I'm
We haven't
gonna
got
go-
the TV
I'm
time.
going to stand on this side of the
wait,
table
wait,
right
wait.
now. Here we go.
Wait,
We'll be unified in front against
Let me
this.
tell you. Let me tell you this though, because as an American United States soccer fan of this nation, everybody's always like, "Well, we don't have the guys that can play that style." I had somebody tell me that we don't have the guys that can play park the bus, and I'm like, "Well, we definitely don't got guys that can play controlling football. So what do we play? What's our identity?" And we never
still need to build it.
have ever identified that.
Yeah.
And
I
like
mean-
you could say that, right, as an expat,
Yeah.
essentially coming over and seeing the game from the outside in, is that you know how Spain's going to play, and you know how the Netherlands wants to play, and I think
Well, I mean, I would argue that the US, and I saw this in previous World Cups, will play till the 98th minute. You are not. They are so fit. They are so good.
Yeah.
Technically, they're not as good as a lot of
No,
the other
but
players.
why-
Pulisic aside.
But why are the women so well-rounded and the men can never find a first touch?
Because this is the world. This is the beautiful game. They've been playing it 200 years. America's not been at this level
That's true.
for 200
That's
years.
true. But still, just to find a first touch, if we can find one Pulisic, you mean to tell me there's not more? Is it the
There's
pay-to-play
plenty.
thing?
There's plenty.
There's
but how do you-
plenty of Pulisic.
But is it the pay-to-play? Is that one of
No,
our
I
big
don't think
That's
it's
an entirely different conversation that we've had.
I think the American game, the MLS, is doing a good job, and I think also the influence of the foreign players like Abramovich and so many others, Rooney now. I mean, now we're starting to see the world's best players coming here, albeit in the end of their careers. But now that's going to move the Americans forward.
So you're telling me there is still hope for my pairing of Chicharito and David Silva for
See.
Austin FC.
See.
Oh,
See.
there it is. All right. So the Gold Cup.
that would be
You got a prediction for Gold Cup?
That's the thing. So it's tonight at 8 o'clock. Again, you can catch the coverage on Fox. I want the U.S. to win very badly because it honestly, this is a litmus test on how well this team can do. And to be fair, they have been playing the people that we've been asking them to play for a long time, and it's nice to see them actually get some success. I'm not sure if it's a 2-0 tonight. It might be a little bit closer, maybe a 1-0 or 2-1.
1-0 to who?
1-0. I expect the United States to win because we need this.
I'm not going to make you happy here, especially wearing this shirt.
Can we talk about the hat before we talk about just the shirt?
Well, the hat's good.
The hat's good too.
2-2, extra time, Mexico 3-2.
Oh, so you don't think it'll go to penalties?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think it's going to go to penalties either. And I'm sorry to say, Mexico has the better players on the pitch, even though they didn't bring their A squad either. 2-1 Mexico.
And that's the thing, right? Does it hurt even more knowing that it's not the first team for Mexico?
No, because it's a world. They are a world power.
Okay.
I think they're a world
Now,
power. In my mind, they're a top 10 in the world
you
country.
Don't, you don't get the 7 straight round of 16 World Cups if you're not any good.
Correct.
Okay. And final question here on this before we move on. What is your expectation if the United States win or lose? What is your expectation going into the next World Cup qualifying cycle going forward?
They've got to qualify.
They've got to qualify hands down, but
Yeah.
do you think that if they win this, you have any more confidence going in or less if they lose? How do
I
you
certainly
feel?
don't think that what America needs to do is throw the baby out with the bathwater and start again.
But
please.
they did that when they got rid of Klinsmann.
They should never have gotten rid of
Exactly, that's what I said for years, and everybody's
Never
like,
should've
"No,
got
it's
rid
the
of
right
Klinsmann.
move.
Best
You'll
coach.
see.
No.
We'll get an American in
No,
there."
no,
and then
no.
they picked the wrong American because they
Who
could have had Tab Ramos.
Who are the best football nation in the world? Germany.
I know the guy won a World Cup.
Why are we speaking high?
I don't know.
Because I'm still annoyed by it. Still annoyed. Still annoyed.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
We'll-
Still
we'll
annoyed.
We'll take our dresses off and we'll get back to our
Oh, my goodness.
manly ways.
Anyway, so
But men wear tights.
Okay.
Men in tights. Tights.
All right. So
He doesn't get the reference.
It doesn't. Let's get back to
Carry
your
yours.
eating problems first.
Well, this is where we're going to next, which is why I really don't want to be the one to bring this up, but I have to pay up on a bet.
Oh, well, actually,
Are we ending the show on this?
yeah, we definitely
Because-
can.
I
okay.
just heard about this.
So, okay.
It's
By the
about
way,
continuity, my
thanks
friend.
for
Can I
joining
commentate on this?
You can do play-by-play
So,
because thanks for
You
joining the show.
cannot
Yeah.
have pineapple on a pizza.
Okay.
No, you can't.
It's
Can I
wrong
hold
in
on.
every aspect.
I agree with you.
It's just not
I-
right.
Look at those
especially
chunks, man.
only the
Look at
Americans-
those chunks.
Okay.
Yeah, those are chunks.
Okay, so
Those
here's
are-
the problem.
Damn.
Here's the problem is that for those of you that are
I am
fans of
not
the show,
touching that.
yeah, please don't.
You
I don't want
I got
to
extra
either.
pineapple for you.
Step
You don't have to
away
have it
from
on
the
pizza.
pineapple.
For those
sir.
of you that are fans of the show, you'll know that at the last Manchester derby, I made a bet. And I said that Manchester United was going to win. And
Well,
I
that
was
was a dumb
so
bet.
Okay, well,
Exactly. Thank you. See?
I don't agree with this.
Man, you'll have
But I
eating
was-
pineapple next.
I was so confident that I made a bet. I hate pineapple on a pizza. I agree with you. It's unnatural. It's disgusting.
How can this be unnatural? Look at
Look
that color.
Okay, hold on.
It just
How could this be
jumps at you.
unnatural? The pineapples you chose to put on this pizza are massive. So I hate you for that.
You didn't say how you're going to take the pineapple on the pizza. You just said that you would eat it.
Okay, well, I'm going to try to eat it as a pizza. So I'm going to go. Would you hate me forever?
Cheese and pepperoni don't go with
Now,
fruit.
yes, I
That's
agree.
dessert.
Tomato is a fruit, technically speaking.
This is tomato. This is also
It
a
has
very.
seeds.
This is a very strange pineapple pizza because it's cherry tomatoes. Is that basil?
Yeah.
Is this a margarita pineapple pizza?
basically, man?
Oh.
Oh,
Enjoy.
that's even more
Enjoy.
unnatural.
You didn't say what's
now. Why
high?
are there two slices here?
because
Are you going to partake?
No, you're gonna eat both.
No, I'm not.
No way.
That is a lie. That is a myth.
Did I lose a bet?
I know, but I had said one slice of
Put
pizza.
us out of our. But you've got to go.
Well, here I'll connect them
You gotta do
together
it.
again.
No,
that way
no.
they'll be
It's
one
one
slice.
slice
and the moral
pizza.
of the bloody story is: don't support Man United or Manchester
Thank you.
City.
See, I like this guy
moral-
already.
The moral of the story, he said Manchester City too, by the way.
Oh,
the moral of the story is to not be a degenerate gambler
yeah, you're right there.
when it comes to
let's-
soccer.
Right
Let's
now,
get this
it's
out
not
of the
good
way.
to
There
bet
you
on
go.
Manchester United. Not a time to bet on them
Oh.
until Solskjaer gets his.
And that was
Feet
what
under the
happened.
table.
He had just joined the club.
Oh, eat that, Zach. Oh, take a nice big
Oh!
bite. Yes.
Ooh,
Wait. Can I get
no.
one more for the Instagram?
Let's hear how
Yeah.
that's.
Oh.
It looked great. Can
That
I?
was
I need you to take one more bite just for the
pineapple.
Instagram.
I'll take another bite. But that was
People
It's
are
gross.
doing this around America
They
on
do
a
thi-
regular
they
basis.
do
they
this-
love this.
and they love this.
Honestly, pineapple is the most disgusting thing that
All
you
right,
can
let's
put
get
on a
one
pizza.
more bite. Let's
All
get
right,
one more bite,
One
Zach.
last bite.
America,
One
if you're
more for
listening,
us.
do not
You're putting
do
me
this.
out of my misery.
The
Alistair
Italians
McAllister
don't
might,
do it, and they invented pizza.
Yes. All right,
That-
here we go.
This would turn any Italian, including Mussolini, in his grave
Ugh.
to see this.
Alistair McAllister will definitely have a word
man, no,
about
I
this.
can't watch this. It's just not right.
Does it hurt? Does it hurt?
It's
Make your
hurt.
eyes bleed a little bit?
You've done your bit. You've done your bit, man.
Oh.
All right. Thank you for paying
All
up
right,
that bet.
I'm
Hey,
gonna need another beer.
So what do you think we're going to have to do next year? Because the season's starting in a month.
I know. That's the exciting thing. We have the brand new show. We've got the visual element thanks to SHN Sports.
Thank you, Rob Hip. Thank you, Carl Schultz.
Absolutely. So we're going to need to come up with something maybe a little bit more visual, although eating pineapple pizza would have probably never worked on
Wasn't
the radio.
that so tasty?
It was not. It was disgusting.
Good. Subjects for the next show: Mourinho either to the USA or Newcastle.
Yes.
I'm all about it. I'll take Mourinho.
And again, we're going to
I
have
tell you what,
ways
Newcastle won't take Mourinho.
Because they will take Mourinho.
and we're
right?
going to have ways for you guys to be even more interactive here on the show. Again, you can follow us on Twitter at the Throw-In ATX at our personal accounts as well.
At Speed Green.
There it is. At Soccer is a Sport for me. You can follow Justin.
at the Smash Simmons. And don't forget, you can also follow us on Instagram now at the Throw-In ATX. So same name, two different places, and on Facebook.
And again, our partners over here at Celis Brewery and at SHN Sports as well. And that will get you connected with them.
And in a year and a half's time, we will walk from this very spot right across to see a game.
Yeah, and if you've been original since the very beginning, do you remember these hats?
Oh, I remember those hats. I remember how much you wanted
Before
it.
we even had a name, I'm glad I found my old hat.
There you
It's going
go.
to be a great time in a couple of years. We hope to see you out here next time we do this
Absolutely.
again.
Follow us again on Twitter. We'll keep
And a
you
big
posted.
thanks to Michelle for looking after us all
Yes,
today.
very,
She did
very
a very
big
good
thank
job.
you. So,
Yeah.
again, keep in mind we're going to be recording more episodes just like this out and about in Austin, Texas. So follow us on social media to find out where we will be next. Have a great week, Austin, and enjoy your soccer.